Northeast Arkansas. Applications at arearlylearning.org.
Arkansas Early Learning is a nonprofit organization.
KLEK LP Jonesboro, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. It's now time for Community Conversations, a program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a better place, while offering viewpoints from all sides of the issues. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters or sponsors.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday to you. You're tuned in to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. I'm your host for today, Quabila Harden, along with Miss Micah Simone.
Good morning, everybody.
And my special guest today is Mr. David McClain, who is on the City Council of Jonesboro, City of Jonesboro, I'm sorry. Got a little tongue-tied early this morning. And he serves in Ward 6 position 2. So good morning, David.
Good morning.
All right, so today we're going to continue on with our council conversations. We've had several council members in before, so we're just going to get David's perspective on some of the things that Jonesboro is dealing with, some of the issues that are, have come up on the council and things that are important to Jonesboro.
Right.
So first we're going to start out talking about rezoning. We've talked to some other council members about this issue, and you live in a different ward. So just want to get your perspective on rezoning, what it means, what it could mean to your ward. What do your residents have to say about it?
I think we have to be careful, be thoughtful as far as where we zone.
Okay.
Rezoning, whether it's going from single family to high density multifamily.
Okay.
All those, I think we need to be careful and make sure that number one, we're not creating a certain type of lifestyle in a certain area, a certain part of town, right?
Okay.
So in one of the things that was looked at some years ago was the multifamily zoning and the number of multifamily high density homes or apartments in certain parts of town.
Okay.
And I think we need to make sure we're paying attention to not overpopulating a certain area with multifamily homes. Okay. Or a certain district or a certain area because it seems like that's something that has happened and that's something that is taking place. And from my perspective, we have to be careful because we're creating certain parts of town that seem as if they aren't equal to other parts.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. And another thing that was brought up once before was the traffic. Imagine if you put an apartment. It could be 2 levels, but it could have multiple apartment units. There's going to be extra traffic,
right,
from the vehicles, from either the residents or the visitors that come to visit. So then the people who live in certain neighborhoods, if they're used to it being more quiet and, easy going, then all of a sudden there's an influx, and that's going to cause some uneasiness with the residents that currently live there.
Right. And some of the zonings we've had, the rezoning requests we've had, we've heard that, and it is an issue. It's a legitimate issue, and we need to make sure our infrastructure matches the growth in certain areas of town.
Okay.
And I think that's an area we need to improve in drastically throughout town. So I would say, yes, it's a big concern of some folks, a lot of people. I think we do need to address it, like I said, by improving our infrastructure.
Okay.
But one thing to touch on with rezoning, we're about to be forced with, especially us being a dry county, the restaurants and places that want to come here and receive their liquor license. That's going to be something that the council's going to have to do, as well as the medical marijuana. We're going to have to give zoning consideration to those who want to put a dispensary or those shops. You have to give them consideration through the council.
Has there even been a proposal to put one?
We have not.
Okay.
We have not seen one. Like I said, however, that's something that's coming. We learned that when we were at a conference recently.
Okay.
That's going to be something we're going to have to deal with.
Holy, it's gonna be
So yeah, so rezoning. You think, oh man, these rezonings about the multifamily were intense. Just wait, until.
It's a whole lot more.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
All of that.
Yeah, yeah.
That is very interesting.
Yeah. So you have to, and that's something you got to think about.
So alongside that, I remember a previous conversation that we held about some new apartments being built within the Midtown downtown area, and how that would quote unquote exclude some people from living in certain areas. How does that affect the rezoning?
What?
I mean, the rent would be at a certain level where, of course, certain people, based on their jobs,
Right.
or just their income level, could not live there.
So yeah, it's a more of a high end product. Is what that's going to be.
Yes.
Will it exclude some? Yes. I think that's just a natural thing that happens with the market. I mean, the market will let folks. You can either live there or you can't. But I think the thing that we have to be careful of in our zoning is making sure we're not creating certain sects of town that are moderate or low income and that see only that. That's all they have is what I'm. What the thing I'm saying. So if we now, if I build an apartment complex and I charge $1,200 a unit rent, I mean, some folks are going to move there, some folks won't. But like I said, I think we have to be careful with when we look at our zoning, because we don't want to create something that you can see. Why is that side of town different? And no high rent or no. So you got to spread that out.
Okay, because I once had thought of, there's some apartments on the north side that are there's quite a few properties that are very new on the north side, and some have said that the rent is higher than, I'm going to say normal, higher than what some people may be able to or expected to pay. And of course, only people with certain job level, certain incomes can move in. And I guess at one point I was fearing that these developers are coming in and either are they trying to push certain people out, and it's not about a race thing. So I don't want people to think, oh, this is about a race. It's about income levels and or class or however you want to call it. Just concerned. Don't want to push people out and around and about, because if you push people too far into a concentrated area, then you're going to create another problem when it comes to, say, crime or whatever.
Absolutely. I agree.
So I just wonder.
Yeah.
Okay.
With the rezoning, do you often see the crime level spike because of, I guess, the differences within the economy in certain areas of town?
I'd have to ask the chief if we've seen a spike. We've seen spikes in certain areas, yes. But I think it's starting to. What we've seen is that around here that it moves. So you clean up one area and it moves to another area, and you clean it. It's just a revolving thing, but that's something that we're trying to improve. As far as with our police, trying to make sure that everyone feels safe and that everybody goes to sleep feeling, hey, I got a safe place. I'm not in an area that I got to worry about being shot at or somebody kicking my door in. And we don't want that for any part of town. At least I don't. I know. I can speak to that's something that we definitely don't want. Now, have we seen some? Some, yeah, but at the same time, that's there. We're trying to get out and try and get the guys out more. I don't know if you paid attention to the last. I can't remember if it was the last council meeting or meeting before, but the chief was just talking about some things he needs, and we want to make sure we're giving him whatever he needs to help deter crime from every part of the city.
And one thing I like to say is that we as a community need to start being neighbors again and start looking out. So one way to help hopefully deter crime is to start looking out for each other, no matter what side of town you live on.
Right.
If you're on a certain side of town and you see something out of place, we need to stop being quiet about everything and worry about retaliation. So
yeah, I would totally agree. That's something. There's nothing like someone in a certain community because you always have somebody that's you know the person that's looking out the blinds, right?
Yes.
The person that's the neighborhood watch, and if they see something, they gotta be able to be willing to come up and say, "Hey, I saw this," and speak about it, because we have to. The police are there to protect and serve us, but at the same time, we have to work with law enforcement to make sure. I mean, gosh, they can't do it alone. And that's something that I think we have to make sure that people understand. It's like they can't do it alone. I mean, I don't care what it is, and they always have to have help.
So in order to, I guess, push that message, being that the law enforcement can't do it alone, how do you suggest that we do so? How do you suggest that we, I guess, evoke that understanding for people that aren't or may not have the best outlook on law enforcement?
Right. I think some engagement opportunities. That's something I know Chief Elliott's been great about, trying to get law enforcement, the officers out in front of people, not only throughout the city, but also through different touch points where you may have something. I know Fullness of Joy had something recently, where you had guys out there, you had some cooking, and you had just out hanging out. I think those are some of the ways, because Chief and I have discussed this, but I do believe you have to make sure that officers are seen in that light as somebody I can, just another person like I am, versus my first interaction with you, maybe me getting pulled over or a different situation. I think that's going to be the key. Making sure officers are out and they're seen. I love to see officers get back on bicycles around town.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, because you can patrol an area a little differently. You can roll up on things happening a little easier, right? I can.
Conspicuous.
Yeah, because you can't see me, you can't hear. All of a sudden, I'm there, and it's hard to outrun somebody on a bike unless you jump a fence. But
unless you have a bike.
yeah, and you better be fast. So that's those are some of the ways I think we have to make sure officers are out and seen as, okay, I can connect with this person and I can talk to this person. I get to know them like they get to know me, and we have some dialogue. And that trust, you got to build that trust. And that's
Yes,
one thing
most
that
definitely.
that's one thing that I think we have to make sure how you're getting out, and we're building that trust, and we're building that. I've heard the saying, trust is like water in a glass ball. Once you break it, you can't get it back in there.
You can, unless you fix that one broken part.
Yeah, you better be.
Leakage,
I would like to see, like, in the side of town that I live on, I would love to see, now that school is out, the police be more of a presence, instead of just posting up somewhere, I guess trying to catch somebody speeding or whatever. Maybe, like the street I live on, it's fairly quiet, but the kids do go out and play. So if the police officer could just roll by and just get out and say, hey, how are y'all doing? And my name is, and let the kids come over and interact with him and see I know they have limited time and they have work to do, but if they could just ride by more than just when they're looking for somebody or something, that would be really nice.
Yeah. Like I said, those additional touch points are always good, and always it would help, right?
Yes. And it ties into, I guess, going into community involvement. Not just, getting involved with watching out for your neighbors, but going to these council meetings, seeing what's being discussed, seeing what's being decided, or hearing what's being decided for the residents of Jonesboro, and then voicing your opinion and concerns. Getting to know your council member that serves in your ward, expressing your concerns to them. So hopefully it could make it on the agenda versus just being an end of the meeting discussion topic. Right.
And that's something that I think a lot of people they don't see that as a need. Okay, do I need to go to the council meeting? And most folks don't even know who's on the council. They know, okay, I know we got a mayor, but that's about it.
They don't know.
And that's just not being engaged. I've told folks before, it's hard. Sometimes you got a family, you're trying to figure out what's for dinner. You're trying to make sure everybody got matching socks on, when you're trying to leave. So it's a matter of, okay, can I fit something else into my time? And you should, but making it a priority and fitting it into your time is key. And that's what like I said, some folks you're just trying to figure out what's going on. But speaking, you talk about community engagement. I'll have another coffee with councilman on the 29th of this month. We're going to do it from 9 to 11. And more than likely, I'm going to call about. I hadn't locked up my spot yet where we're going to have it, but we will have. You'll see it on my Facebook coming
and
up.
please let us. I'll be on the lookout for that so that we can most definitely do a media blast and let people know when and where, so they can come out and talk to you, even if they don't live in your ward.
Right.
They can still come and get a councilman's perspective on what's going on.
Right.
And I just would really love to advise. I always go back to this. There are 6 wards and 2 people per ward.
Right.
So 12 individuals that represent the city under the mayor, basically.
We work with we got a strong mayor, but we work with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
Thank you for correcting me on that.
It's just like, it's a check and balance system. Okay. Just like president and house, and
Okay.
Yeah.
But the council members are the people you want to go to first, and then they can at least pass on to someone, pass on to the mayor, and then get the ball rolling for whatever the concern or issue is.
Right.
So go to the City of Jonesboro's webpage, www.jonesboro.org, and click on departments and go down to City Council. You can get to see who all the members are. And if you click on their name, it'll give you some contact information, at least an email address. Let's see. It should be an email address and a phone number.
Yep.
And that way you can, my little thing is covered. You can get in touch with that person directly. So, and if you have any questions or comments, please give us a call, 870-277-1080, or leave us a message on our Facebook live stream. And if we don't get your question or comment addressed before the show is over, we'll definitely pass it on to Mr. David.
So, Ward 6, Position 2, what does that mean?
So Ward 6, basically, like I said, you got 6 wards in the city, and you got 2 people that represent each ward. So my ward, Bobby Long and I are in the ward together. And so he's in position 1. It's just 2 different. You got 2 people that represent it. It's almost like a congressional districts. Like in Arkansas, we got 4 congressional districts on the federal side. But then if you look at Senate, of course, we got 2 seats. But then in the state house and all, you got different. It's just broken up for representation purposes.
Okay.
Yeah, but Ward 6 is a pretty big ward, actually.
Where is it located?
So part of it is over by the NEA hospital, so south of NEA 49. You have Airport Road. You have all the way from Johnson and Aggie. All the way, I'm seeing it in my mind, almost to Bay, actually. And it goes even south behind Fletcher Dodge, all that, Keeley, Lexi, back in that area. So it's a pretty big area to cover. You got quite a bit.
See CW Post Road.
Yeah, you
all
go.
The way out.
Yeah.
So does it explain it on the website?
You have a map.
There's a map.
Okay. Wow.
So if anyone would like to see their ward and the council member's name is actually highlighted on the map as well. And this is on the jonesboro.org webpage. And in the search bar, just type in ward map and we'll give you a PDF version of the map. So you can see who represents you. And also there's a little star. I'm guessing that indicates where you live.
Right.
So,
me? It shows where I live?
Well, there's a star on, like,
know.
it doesn't give, like, street name, and it's kind of giving location.
It does. Oh, my goodness. Well, our address is on there, which, can be a little unnerving sometimes. But
have you ever had anybody to show up at your
No.
house? Okay.
Well, I've only been on the job a little over 6 months, so fortunately I have not, and we'll go from there.
Okay. All right. So, in our last few moments, just any other thoughts on how the community as a whole can get more involved?
I would say just make sure you're coming to the council meetings. Make sure you're voicing your concern. I had some emails last night about some issues, and hey, the squeaking wheel gets the grease.
Okay.
And so this was on some quality of life things.
Okay.
And so we need you have to make sure you're staying engaged. So I know we're going to do all we can to improve quality of life. We're going to trying to improve connectivity throughout the city through something that we hadn't discussed yet, but sidewalks. Okay. That's a big deal coming up, and so hopefully, yeah. And one thing that I spent some time this past weekend in Northwest Arkansas.
Okay.
And one of the things that my son and I were driving, and I said, dude, we could walk from our hotel all the way to the baseball fields where you're getting ready to play.
Wow.
I mean, literally, the sidewalk was that. I mean, it's very connected, and it's something we need to improve on.
Okay.
And we need to make sure that we're connecting different parts of the city, and that folks have the ability to walk around and in a safe way.
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah, and so that's coming up hopefully soon, and I'm excited about getting to have a discussion, conversation.
Okay.
In the last few moments, can we just touch on a bit of revitalization?
Yeah, we'd love to see us, instead of condemning property, maybe doing something a little different, where we revitalize a home or apartment complex or whatever it is, and try to not have as many vacant or condemned properties in the city. That's something that I think we've seen an increase in, and hopefully we have some tools coming up that we can actually do something about them, instead of just condemning, like I said.
Yes, and maybe that will cut down on an influx in just building new properties. But I know you can't control the desires of the property owner or the developer. Sometimes they just want something new, brand spanking new.
Right.
But I just feel like if you give individuals a chance, of course it would take some research and some prayer, maybe, but give individuals a chance to, if you help them build up what they have, they may develop a sense of pride to want to continue to keep it looking nice.
Right. And there are programs out there for that. One thing we learned also at a meeting recently was that CDBG won't be around anymore, and that was one of the ways that you could use funds to help revitalize homes. But there are other programs still out there, and they're still, hopefully, like I said, coming up, looking at some ways that we could actually, as a city, help. So that's something I think we gotta, like I said, make sure we don't have a ton of vacant properties or condemned properties, and that's something we don't want. We don't want to start that.
No, sir. We do not. Jonesboro is growing by leaps and bounds, and we want to see continue to progress.
Right, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right, so you've been tuned into Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. This has been our council conversation with a council member. Sorry, working on the title. Anyways, this is a short day, so we're gonna insert some afternoon grooves for you to listen to, even though it's in the morning. So please enjoy the tunes after this show, and thank you so much for tuning in. Join us tomorrow. We'll have some individuals from Arkansas State University discussing an upcoming Shakespeare play. You don't want to miss it. So thank you all for tuning in, and have a very blessed day.